Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me?
With your host, Brandon Tierney. In 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? We've got a little noise in the background there. Let me see what's going on with that. What was that there, J-Rod? That's
what happened.
What was that?
I think I didn't hear anything, so you might have just heard like a pop or something.
No, it was almost like a double track underneath it. We got a different mix here to start the show.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't hear anything, but potentially.
It is all good. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to BT Unleashed. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. Today's show is brought to you by my friends at Sullivan Papade. Of course, find them at triallaw1.com. Triallaw1.com. Going to be a big day today. Boone coming up in a bit. Remember the name Sullivan Papade, and by Premio Sausage. Premio Sausage, the way sausage should be. Find them at premiofoods.com or in your local grocery store. Thank God they won last night. I didn't want to get grumpy, Boone, coming up on the show. So Aaron will join right around 10. You know, obviously the game's moved up today. We were going to have him at 10:30, and we would have had a little bit more time. So I've got to get right into this. And, you know, I no tap dancing with Boone. We got to get into a couple of the topics that I deem incredibly important, and I'm sure by extension you guys feel the same way. So we'll get into that. A little housekeeping note quickly, heads up for tomorrow. This is going to be an absolute blast. As soon as the schedule drops, episode number 8, myself and Jake Asbin, Rich Samini, the Jets Collective in the house, the three of us breaking down all the games, and we'll see where they're going. You know, going to be on the road week 1, who they're playing, any primetime stuff. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually excited about the Jets this year. I think you guys know that. We got the Cavs and the Pistons tonight while the Knicks get to chill a little bit here. So to me, like if I'm listening to Aaron Boone speak today, I want to hear, there's probably 3 things. Now, there's probably 10 things that we can get into. I get it. You know, we can regurgitate the leadoff hitter thing. That is what it is until it changes. He knows where I stand on Grisham. I don't even know if I need to bring it up. And by the way, Grisham did hit a big bomb last night. Goldie did a good job as well. Yankees do get the win. Warren really battled. You know, I thought he really wiggled off the hook. So that was good to see, to get back on track with him. But to me, like, say if I'm just driving around and, you know, I don't do what I do for a living, and I'm just like you, I'm all right, Aaron Boone's on with BT. Here's what I got to hear. To me, the 3 most pressing issues, and there's a lot of good in the Yankee universe, despite the 4-game losing streak where many of you thought, here we go again. You know, the sky is collapsing. And yesterday's show, I just said, relax, guys. Yankees pitching staff is going to be on lock all year. They're going to get another bullpen arm. You know that. And I really, really do like this version of the Yankees. Now, it doesn't mean that I'll necessarily be right, but I'm definitely more bullish on the Yankees than I have been outside of the Soto year in years. Having said that, obviously got to get into Volpe. And I think what's going to be incredibly interesting now is, like, what do you do with that 5th starter? Garrett Cole's got probably 2 more rehab starts to go. We threw 77 on Sunday over the weekend. At least 1, probably 2. And I know he hit 98 on his last pitch. Garrett Cole's basically ready. But the fact that the Yankees are playing well, not that they would rush him anyway, coming off Tommy John, and they've got a really deep bag of starters. You know, the urgency or the potential desire to maybe get him back a week before you really need to, that's not going to be there. But what is going to be there is a really tough conversation with either Weathers or Will Warren. So to me, that is really interesting. Who's going to the pen? One of them's going to the bullpen. So we'll get into that with Aaron Boone, the Volpe stuff for sure, and the Jazz Chisholm stuff. Like, to me, those are the 3 most pertinent Yankee issues. From a negative point of view, there's obviously a lot of good. The way Ben Rice has looked, the way Caballero's played so far, the starting pitching, the record, plus 72 run differential, a lot of good things. So Boone's going to hop on from Camden Yards in about 5 or 6 minutes. Now, once Aaron's done, we'll obviously react to that. We'll get you chats up. We'll have a fun conversation with that. We'll get some calls as well. But after that, I want to get into David Stearns yesterday, what he said. Not now, J-Rod, but I know that not many of you believe in David Stearns, and I get it. Like, it's one thing for me to think the Mets made a great hire when they brought David Stearns in, which pretty much everybody but Joe Beningo thought. Like, we all thought, all right, you know, here's the young boy wonder who did, you know, some magic in Milwaukee with not much of a payroll. What is he going to do with Steve Cohen's checkbook? Well, here we are. And even with the win last night, nice to see Ewing get his first knock, a triple. He can fly, man. It's good to see him up there. And Peralta was pretty good. He battled as well. And who knows? Maybe the Mets are about to take off. But we'll get to the Mets later. But the one thing that struck me, right, without even revealing now if I agree with what Stern said about the character, like the requisite character and the right amount of talent that he believes are going to turn this thing around. We'll have that conversation after. To me, David Stearns comes across as incredibly arrogant. Like, dude, who do you think that you are to tell the New York media, even though the New York media didn't really bite back, which in the matter in which I would have hoped that they would have. Like, dude, you're not setting the rules right now, dude. You're 16-25. You got a bloated payroll. Your team stinks, all right? Every other week it's about, the job security for the manager. And he told the media, hey, I'm not talking about this every couple of weeks here. No, you might have to. Because if the Mets, say if they lose 2 or 3 to the Yankees or they drop the next 2 in this series, like it's not going away. I understand what Stearns is trying to do, trying to reestablish a little continuity and quiet the noise. I get that and I respect that. I really do. But understand where you're at here, Stearns. Once, if and when, Mendoza is ever relieved of his job, there is nobody that you can pull in front of you to shield yourself from the shrapnel that is already coming your way in mass quantity, and rightfully so. I just thought that was ridiculous. Like, listen, when you're a general manager, and Cashman, it's funny. Cashman, not to get into the roster construction, but Cashman over the years has been a little arrogant. And, it's rubbed some of us a little bit the wrong way. But, Brian Cashman's got a boatload of championships. He's been here for 35, 40 years, even when he started, under Bob Watson. He's got some equity here. Stearns hasn't done a damn thing except rip apart a team that's seemingly going backwards. So, again, we will have the conversation. Do I think that the Mets could turn this around? But that jumped off the page to me. Like he's got that smirk and he's like this smarmy, I don't know, like he's talking down to people. Dude, relax. Like you're the last dude. And if you think about all the teams right now, right? I mean, listen, if Joe Shane knows what's good for him, Joe Shane's not going to say a word. I mean, Joe Shane's lucky he's still here. But there's good energy with the Giants. There's good energy with the Jets and Muji coming off the draft and, some positivity there. I mean, the Knicks are running the show right now. The Yankees, despite the 4-game skid, the Yankees have been terrific this year for the most part. And, David Stearns is up there yesterday, looking at the media, basically trying to reestablish the rules. Don't work that way, buddy. I really thought that he missed the mark there. And to the point where if I am Steve Cohen or I don't know that somebody in PR would do this, maybe if Jay was still there, Horowitz, he would do this. But I almost think that he's got to repurpose and redirect and rechannel some of the energy, what he emits. Like you got to come in the side door, buddy. Things ain't going well for you, Dave. And you're up there telling the media, don't ask me about it. We'll ask you what we want to ask you. Who the hell do you think that you are? Don't ask me. Like that's where, and listen, I know a lot of the, like Mike Vaccaro, Steve Serby, I mean, Zach on the St. John's beat, Roger Rubin on the St. John's beat from New. Like I know a lot of the report. I don't know some of the younger guys, some of the newer guys, but I know a lot of the old guard, and they're as good as it gets. And I don't even know who was in that room yesterday. And I'm not even directly casting aspersions at an individual, but I was surprised that the big bad New York media didn't say anything to him. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about it. No, I mean, listen there. Come on, Stearns. If you don't start winning, you're going to talk about it. All right. What we're going to talk about right now is the New York Yankees. And we are joined now. I know he's getting set up there. I could see him in the backdrop there. So I'll let him, I don't know is he in uniform yet? Has he got the batting practice gear on? He's got the lid on. What's he rocking? Let me get my guy, Aaron Boone, of course, the manager for the New York Yankees. And Boone is looking to be sitting the camera. He's got his Yankee. Look at come on. You look like Jazz with that hat. Would you fix your hat, dude? What are you trying to look like Jazz Chisholm there, Booney? Hey, what happened there?
I don't know.
Hold on, we get him there.
Booney, right, can you hear us?
Yes, I got you.
What's up
awesome.
there, Skip?
Perfect.
How you doing, man?
There we go.
We're good. All right. Did you hear what I said about the hat? You look like Jazz Chisholm. What are we doing? You're old school. Pull that thing down, Booney.
I'm going up this morning. I got to until I get dressed.
I understand, man. Hey, listen, first of all, I really appreciate you doing this. I know we were supposed to have you on at 10:30. Would have had a little bit more time, but they moved the game up. Some bad weather down in Baltimore. So thanks for hopping on, man. How you doing, bud? You good?
Yeah, I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a while. We've obviously communicated a lot off the air, but the last time I saw you was at the BT and Sal live show, which was great. For the record, we did handle I beat you in the baseball card game, so I beat you again, just for the record there. You beat Sal, though. You did beat Sal.
The drubbing of Sal.
Yes, you did wipe Sal a little bit. So, okay, because we don't have an hour, so we got about 30 minutes. I want to jump into some things here. To me, and this is actually a good thing, Aaron, but I'm very curious how it's going to play out. The way he's looked, he obviously looks like somebody who deserves to be a starter. Same with Will Warren. Now, this is ultimately a good thing, but ultimately you're going to have a very tough conversation with one of those two men, unless it might be somebody else, which I doubt. Are you already in your mind playing this out? Like, do you have a sense of those two guys who might right now be more equipped to go to the bullpen? That's a tough call, man.
It's still a couple weeks away at least. And then I just feel like, that's still in the baseball world a lifetime away. Like it's, that decision may be made for you before then. So I try not to get too far ahead of myself with that, because ultimately we'll sit down if we have to make a decision and make it. So the good thing, like you said, is, in the case of the guys you mentioned, like they're throwing great. They are really good starting pitchers, obviously, and a big part of what we're doing. So if we have to make a difficult decision when the time presents itself, which is still a ways away, we'll make it.
I've talked about this a lot, obviously, anticipating the return of Garrett Cole. Now, we get so wrapped up, and when we were growing up, when we were younger, certainly the symbolism of the opening day pitcher, Carlton's going, Seaver's going, Gooden's going, Guidry's going, Saberhagen, guys like that. It's a little different now. I remember a couple of years ago, Nestor
Good list you just rattled off.
Oh, listen, man. There's a reason why I handle you in the baseball card game, buddy. I know my names, man. And that is a good list there. And the symbolism of taking the ball on opening day, there's great value, great respect, and we all know what it meant growing up. It's a little different now. Nestor started a couple of years ago in Houston, just based on the workload and when guys were ready. So we look at a rotation and we label this guy's the ace, this guy's the two. You can always manipulate things with off days. I get that. But my question would be, whenever Garrett comes back, in whatever order you're going to put them, Fried 1, Cole 2, Schlitt 3, Rodon 4, and then either Warren or Weathers 5, do you have any aversion, if it is Weathers, because I thought about this, having 60% of the rotation being lefties? Is that a factor?
No.
Not at all, even with all the righties?
Yeah.
All the righty hit, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it because they have reverse splits, or it just doesn't matter at this point?
No, look, if someone has to go to the bullpen, that they become an interesting option on days to, follow somebody and even piggyback and even go close the game for on that day. I think of the Michael King role before he entered the rotation, like he was an absolute killer in some 3-inning stints. So
yeah.
Where it would be a day we'd give our closer the day off because King would take it to the finish line for us. So that'll work itself out. What makes the most sense? Lefty, righty doesn't probably factor in too much.
So whomever it is, and again, is going to play out over time, and think about some of the situations. Like if we were having this conversation, as you and I did, on the phone during the winter, like, hey, is Dominguez going to make the team, or are we going to see Spencer Jones? Well, you don't know that, even though he gets hurt a lot, with all due respect to Big G, but Stanton gets hurt. That opens up a door for Spencer Jones a little bit, or Dominguez, and then Spencer, and then, Volpe, obviously, with the injury, opens up a door for Caballero. So you're right. The one thing about baseball is that if you plan too far out in advance, it's usually kind of a waste of time.
And there's nothing to plan for right now.
True.
It's not like we're getting somebody ready. Like, it's just going to happen if it does.
Understood. See, I look at Weathers, and I put this out there, and I see, now that he's throwing more strikes and he's healthy, two things that plagued him a little bit in Miami, And I think organizationally, you listen, I've had some issues with Cashman along the years, but I think he does a great job finding pitchers and revitalizing some of these reclamation projects. And Weathers seems to be the latest example. I don't know, Aaron. I look at somebody, and I know you love Bednar, and I like him, but I look at somebody like Weathers, and I see a guy who can come out of the bullpen in the ninth inning throwing 99. If you trust that he's throwing strikes, does he have that high leverage? If he's the guy, and I'm not saying that he is he a high leverage late inning, come in, a man on, upper run, something like 2 on, 2 out? Like, can you see him making that transition maybe easier than Warren if it comes to that?
Not necessarily. I don't look at him through a traditional lens if you're talking about a starter going back there. I look at guys that can, on a given day, every third, every fourth day, go out and dominate the back end of a game for 3 or 4 innings after. So I look at it not so much like, okay, we're just implanting him in a 1-inning situation. I think it's a different kind of role, and I would liken it to Michael King. And not even saying we're going to do that with those guys, but that's how I look at it more.
What did you see from Rodriguez? Obviously, some nerves and didn't really command the zone early on. He's got pretty filthy stuff. I just didn't think he could really use his slider as much as he wanted to because he couldn't jump ahead. What did you see in the dugout, on the mound, like under the hood kind of stuff as a young player getting the call and just kind of trying to fit in?
Yeah, he didn't throw strikes like he does and will. But I thought he did a good job of not imploding either.
Yep.
Like lesser guys that go sideways when you're not, you're up there for the first time and you're kind of finding your way and you're not commanding it like you normally do. And he didn't flinch. So I liked his poise. I love the stuff. I like his makeup and what I think he is going to be long term. Like I think he's a starter in the league for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, there were some struggles in there in those 2 outings, but there were some promising things that he showed in kind of in the fire, if you will, early in some games.
Yeah. Also, I mean, listen, this is just the way it worked out. I mean, kind of a tough look. The poor kid going out there against the same team twice. I mean,
yeah.
So you don't think that matters much?
Maybe a little bit, but I think if he throws well, he's. The biggest issue for him was just not throwing enough strikes and not commanding it like he normally does. But I think making those 2 starts, I think was really valuable because he could become a very important piece as early as this year for us. So to get up and get some early experience and stack a couple starts, I think there's a lot of value in that.
I remember where I was sitting. I was getting ready to go into one of my kids' rec basketball games during the winter. I think it was right before he went down to Tampa, and we were catching up a little bit. And I said, "Hey, Ben Rice going to have like a 950 OPS." You're like, "Whoa!" I love you remember that? You're like, I love the kid, but 950 stuff. I think I undersold it, Aaron. And I know the advanced numbers last year when when the stats weren't there, but he was hitting the ball hard. You knew it was there. Kind of like Grisham a little bit this year, who's starting to, now get rewarded for hitting the ball hard. What makes him different from other young hitters? I know he's 27, but in terms of experience from other young hitters, why is he different?
I think the big thing let me go back real quick on Benny. I think the big thing was 24, more so than even last year, the underlying stuff. Like he came up and did some good things for us in 24. And then if you recall, there was about a month stretch where he really struggled statistically.
Mm-hmm.
Punched out a lot, but through that was really hitting the ball hard. So he's hitting 180 or whatever, but it was like, that's when you saw like, this guy's got a chance to really hit. And then obviously he has a great year last year and still hits in tough luck. Things he does, man, I think he's obviously hits the ball hard. I think has a real simple swing in how he gets loaded on his backside and builds speed so that he when I say build speed, guys do it in different ways, but he does it really well where he's building speed in his swing subtly.
Mm-hmm.
That allows you to obviously impact the ball, but then it also, just as importantly, allows you to shut down and have breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Breaks on a so you're go, but I've built speed and I can stop my swing to take pitches that are balls. So added up, he controls the strike zone tremendously.
Yep.
He hits the ball incredibly hard, and he's a really good preparer. He's very detailed. He wants everything, and he processes like, all right, I know this guy's four-seam ride, breaking, like he wants to know real specifics, and he's able to go up there and apply that really well.
Interesting, because you're talking about building speed, and I'm just envisioning you're trying to create this momentum, and if you're not perfect with it, or if it's not in your comfort zone and you're trying to become that kind of a hitter, I could see you being out in front a lot on your front foot, out in front of changeups and soft stuff. So to build the speed and then stop on a dime with the pitch recognition, right?
But there's within that, there's a shortness to his swing. There's not a lot of head movement. He's loading up on the backside really well. So he's getting started on time or even early to ultimately, which allows you to make a really good swing decision, which he does.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on this, but I want to at least jump around and hit a bunch of things here. So I'm going to be honest with you. You couldn't see me because you said it over the phone, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And I support you and I believe in you. But when you said this, I'm like, come on, man. You were talking about Ryan McMahon, and you said there's more in there. And I'm like, and I even said, I'm like, really? I'm like, I mean, the guy was in Colorado 7-8 years. He did nothing. They had one good year, whatever, like just below league average, some of the measurables. I'm like, I don't see it. And you said, he's working on stuff, and it's not going to happen right away, but he's going to be unlocked a little bit this year. Without speaking over our heads and too deep of the baseball vernacular, what is different? What is he doing differently here, Booney?
You mean the last few weeks?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's hitting well.
So to me, he's getting to his backside better, which is allowing the bat in the zone longer because he's got real juice. Like he can juice the ball to left center. He's got real pop. He's got some strike zone knowledge and control. But I felt like, especially the first couple weeks of the season, there was a little forward movement and a little steep in and out of the zone. Now, to me, it's pretty noticeable. And he hasn't changed his stance or anything like that. But I feel like he's maybe, for lack of a better way, putting it behind the baseball a little bit more.
That makes sense. That makes total sense.
He's in the zone and so there's some margin for error there. Which I don't think he was giving himself early on.
Can you send Austin Wells to the same school? Come on, man. Listen, Booney, I'm waiting on this kid.
Yeah.
I know he's on base a little bit. I know he's got juice. He's going to hit 20-something home runs. But I thought for sure that he would be a more advanced or sophisticated hitter. He's just an out machine too much. What's going on with Wells?
Yeah. I do like the fact that he is walking a little bit this year, but we got to get him going. I mean, I, like you, expect a lot out of him, expect more out of him. Even what he's done his first couple of years, I feel like there's more in there, and we haven't totally been able to unlock that yet. I know in even talking with the hitting coaches the other day, his work behind the scenes has been really good and really consistent to where he's a guy like building speed. Like, I want him to have a little more of a load and a little bit more of a move. So you're making good swing decisions. You're recognizing secondary as you load and get started. He's catching his butt off. He's doing a great job there. One of the things is we've gone through this stretch the last, since G's been out, and then, we're obviously been very left-handed. So there's been some games where they've been able to run some left-handed relievers through us, where that makes for some night in and night out tougher matchups. So, but we got to get him going, because I feel like him right, especially down towards the bottom of the order, can be a real factor with some pop and getting on base a little bit. So
What'd you see from Jones in terms of makeup? But before you answer that, and listen, the power is ridiculous. I mean, if he sticks around, this year, he's going to hit a couple in the upper deck. I don't know what the average will be, but his power is immense, and he's a good fielder. That batting stance makes me nervous, man. I can't get behind it. I know that's how he hits. I know. I understand that, right? I know he runs.
It's evolved. It's even evolved since spring training a little bit. So as long as he's getting to position early and getting his foot down and keeping it simple, he hasn't really gotten any results here in this first 5 games, however many he's played now.
Uh-huh.
I felt like even from jump, we give him Mizorowski and Harrison from the left side his first 2 assignments. Not an easy task.
No.
And I thought his at-bat quality was solid. Like, even Mizorowski punched him out twice, and he walked against him. Like, thought he was getting in good position, thought he was getting off good swings, controlling the zone a little bit. So, he's been he had a really good spring. And in spring, there were some days, too, where it's like, this is going to be a tough matchup for him. And he went out and was stacking really good at bats, even against some of those in those situations. Then he went to AAA, obviously, to start the year. Got off to a good start the first week, and then for about 10 days, really struggled. A lot of swing and miss. Just not. And the last few weeks, it's been more in line with who he was in spring training. Obviously earned the call up, and so hopefully, as he gets some run here. Hopefully he can get on base a little bit and maybe pop a few.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks so much more fluid. And, I feel terribly for Dominguez. The irony is he gets hurt after making a really good play in the outfield, banging into the wall. But he's a more natural, gifted, instinctual outfielder than Dominguez. I mean, that's pretty apparent, right? You guys see that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably a tick above, yeah. But they're both still a work in progress out there.
Mm-hmm. All right, help us out with this. I'm always intrigued by this. So somebody like Lombard, you could call him up today, and you could put him at third. He'd be great. Short, great. Second, great. Probably throw him in left field. He'd be fine as well. Kid's already a plus defender. I know that you needed to see him hit last year. Mixed results this year, thumping the ball, AA crush, AAA, some bad luck, but the advanced stuff is really good. Does he have a chance to be on the team at some point this year? I know that's
so.
You think so?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's, last year when he went to AA, numbers wise, he didn't crush it. But like you said, the underlying stuff was a lot better for him in AA than what the season stats were.
Mm-hmm.
And we recognize that. So, but we wanted him to go to AA to start this year, especially first, kind of conquer AA, start of the season, it's cold, like not race him to AAA right away. He goes to AA, kills it, earns the promotion. And yeah, the underlying stuff, even at AAA, has been really good. He's walking a ton. He's hitting the ball really hard. He's hitting some tough luck. He can really defend.
He's different. No, he's different.
He can really defend everywhere.
He's different. He's a different kind of player. He's different.
So absolutely, I think he could be a factor for us this year. We don't want to race him up necessarily too quick because he's just getting to AAA and he's 21 years old but he will, if he's not far away. I'll tell you that much.
Interesting. I was surprised, and I know that mixed and matched a little bit in the short time that he was with Volpe, and I'll get to Anthony in a moment. Volpe's starting today, right? By the way, yeah. I didn't see. Is Jazz out there?
Yes.
I'm going to get to Jazz in a second as well. I was surprised. I mean, listen, I know sometimes it sounds like I think that I know more than you guys. I know that I don't. But if I'm you guys, I'm not playing Lombard at second at all. I'm putting Volpe at second, and I'm letting Lombard play short. What was the thought process behind mixing and matching with that experiment?
Well, look, with obviously the situation with Anthony that came up when his rehab, we didn't want to just say, okay, you're going option you and you're going to play this position, that, but like still in a lot of ways, it's still spring training and his build up. And it's like, go play. Part of George's development plan or his, the last couple of years is he has played everywhere and he's thrived everywhere. So at least in the short term, we felt like we didn't want to mess with that or ruffle that or put any more on Anthony right away. So doesn't mean we won't at some point. But that's simple as that.
Yeah, no, I get it. And listen, I also understand, Volpe's trying to figure things out in a big way with the stick. I mean, it's complicated coming off the shoulder injury, so he couldn't really work mechanically on stuff for a while. And you're right, it is still early. I guess, even though the arm strength is obviously favorable towards Lombard by I think a fairly significant margin, I could see why you guys would be a little reluctant to start punting Volpe to different positions when he's still trying to figure things out with the stick, which gets me to this. There's promotions based on circumstances, and then there's promotions based on true merit and earning it. And I don't think it's unfair to say that Volpe didn't earn this promotion based on the way he hit. Now, I know he's done good things for you in the past, the Grand Slam in the World Series. I was there, the Gold Glove. I get it. I'm more of a Volpe supporter than not. But to me, if he doesn't play well during these X amount of games with Caballero on the IL, I mean, what is the plan if he doesn't perform? Ship him back?
Again, I'm not – that's – first thing, the quickest Cabby's back is 9 days. That's, again, in the baseball season, a long time. Like, we're not making any decision today on that. We'll make any decision we have to make when the time presents itself. So right now, he's going to be in there and needs to be an important part of helping us win games right now. So that's how I look at it.
Was it a tough decision to, once the 20-day rehab stint was over, to tell him and make that transaction? You're not coming to the Bronx yet. You got to go to the minors. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I think just first of all, the respect we have for Anthony and who he is physically, mentally, he's just, how you want your guys to be. He's team first. He works his tail off. He's a grinder. He's been through a lot, obviously, here at the big league level. He's a big part of this. So, yeah, it's a tough call to make. It's a tough thing, but we also felt like it was absolutely the right thing to do at that time. So, you're making, to varying degrees, difficult decisions throughout the season all the time. This was one of them, but one we felt convicted in.
Yeah, no, you guys made the right decision. Listen, you've been here a long time, and I know that, you've got the respect of the room, certainly with Judge and extending downhill from that, which is obviously very important as the manager. Did you think, and I know it's an organizational decision at that point, like with a Volpe or eventually a Lombard if he comes up this year, did you think that, or how much did you wrestle with potentially losing, not respect, but maybe some points in the locker room for maybe unjustly rewarding Volpe, I'm talking about a week or so ago, and penalizing Caballero when he was playing well? Guys know who's playing well. How much of a factor was that, Skip?
Not much. I mean, you're trying to do what's right for our team, first and foremost. First and foremost, it's about the Yankees. And then secondary to that is so you're making what you feel like is the best decision for us. That's where you start. And then you also care about the individuals involved and people involved and livelihoods and all that.
Yeah.
So you try to be sensitive to that and aware of that and read the room to a degree. But at the end of the day, right or wrong, you got to make a decision you're convicted in.
Okay. All right. So let's get to Jazz Chisholm here. So he's going to play today. Got the night off yesterday. Hit the reboot, reset a little bit. I mean, he's a mess right now, and you know that. The numbers are alarmingly bad. It's still early enough to flip this, I guess. I like Jazz, but he worries me. I've been on the record with that for a lot of reasons that I don't need to restate now. You know what they are. My audience knows what they are. When he said 50-50, there's a fine line between being confident. I'm not even going to say delusional because that's supreme confidence. I'm not trying to diss him. But when I heard that, I'm like, that's a problem because he doesn't have natural 40 home run or 45 home run power. He's never done that. Talented guy. I said to myself, this is going to be a big issue mechanically, and he's going to sell out, and the Ks are going up and the contact's going down. And right now he is a mess. How, when he said what he said, did your antennas go up like, I'm going to have to watch this? I mean, because he does not look like the same guy. Where do we go with Jazz here, Aaron?
I think it's had zero impact.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, there's days he's trying too hard to hit it to left and keep his front shot in. He's been, yes, mechanically off. His swing is underneath the ball a little too much. Like, the biggest thing is his swing decisions are in line with who he's been. He's missing pitches that he does damage on. Sometimes swinging and miss, sometimes foul, sometimes pop up, sometimes roll over. And I would say, I know it's like he's going to go off at some point. Like, and he's never hit 40 homers. Hit 30 last year and missed a month. Like,
that's true.
I'm not saying he's not a flawed or he's this perfect player by any means, but he is a dynamic, really good player that at some point pretty soon will go off. Okay. And I mean, look around the league. There are dozens of star players that are off to really rough starts. In some ways, rough. Like, I look every night and look up on that board, and there's like pretty good players that have a 5 in front of their OPS.
Yeah, I mean, and he's one of them.
Yeah. Well, no, he's got a 6.
You sure? All right. Does he? Not against lefties, but I got you.
So, although he got a big hit the other night off a lefty.
It's about time he got a hit off a lefty.
I not discounting, like, it's been a struggle. And
it has been.
And he and I have talked about it. Like, look, you're going through it. There's a lot, like, hitting. I say this a lot, but it's so true. Like, hitting is so damn hard.
I know it is.
And it's such a bear, like, the season. Like, you get struggling, you get scuffling. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're me. I don't care if you're some scrub. I don't care if you're Ken Griffey Jr. Like, you play this game, it's going to bring you to your knees. Because hitting's hard. And it's like, man, you get in your head a little bit, and you're trying to make adjustments, and then you're making too many adjustments, then you're overthinking. Like, you got to strike that balance. So
yeah, it's like golf. It's like Booney. It's like golf. You know, you fidget with the grip and the take back, and before you know it, you're hitting worm burners. Then you're dropping your draws because you didn't hit it past the ladies' tee. I know it's hard, but he's making it look really hard.
I agree, but he will absolutely get it going.
Let me ask you this, and I know he's going to go on a hot streak.
To his credit, I think his defense has been excellent.
Yeah, he's picking the ball. I got you on that. Let me ask you this. So we talked about Lombard, and he still has, a little work to do here at AAA. And there's a lot of variables here, but I want to at least get a thought. Now I've got one more for you. I know you got to go and get on the field and do your stuff here. So let's say Lombard crushes it for the next month at AAA, and he gets the call. Let's say Volpe really looks good these next 9 or 10 days, whatever it might be. Caballero comes back, super sub, bouncing around. Is there a situation where if Jazz doesn't get his act together, Jazz could be a part-time player, maybe just against righties? Like, is that on the table? Because it's been so bad, and I know he's going to wake up a little bit, but if he doesn't, would everything be an option at this point?
I mean, it's Major League Sports, so there's always, of course, but you're playing a lot of play-it-out hypotheticals. The reality is we feel like, we have a really good team, and one of the things that we like about our team is the depth that we have.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I like the depth.
And probably more depth than since I've been here that we've ever had, to where which that is part of that depth. That means competition. That means healthy competition for meaningful roles. So hopefully that continues to play out that way, and we'll pay attention to what we're seeing and try and do the right thing for this. Okay.
All right. Last thing. Now, I had Kay on the show, about 2 weeks or so ago, and he used the word ruthless in a good way. I have used, variations of the word, right? you guys seem to be operating a little differently this year. And whether it's urgency, ruthless, whatever word you want to use. And maybe it's because there is more depth. And I agree. You did not have you as the manager did not have the buttons to push that you have now. All right. I'll leave it at that. I think we all know that that's true. Whether it's Rosario, the other players they brought in last year. Good job by Cash with that. The pitching aside, right? So to me, Luis Gil struggles, you're in the minors. McMahon, you're lost for the first couple of weeks. All right, we got a righty, you're sitting. Rosario, you hit lefties real well. We're going to throw you out there against a righty. We're going to do things that are different from what we've done. Are the Yankees operating at a different speed this year? Urgency?
No.
I think you are.
Yeah, I've heard this. People have asked me this a few times, and I don't think at all. I mean, because I lived between the walls for the last 8-9 years here, and every year I've ever been here, there's like that urgency. Like, we want to win it all. That's what we're fighting for. So I don't think that's the case. I think that does a disservice to, again, what we've done in the past and what my experience has been like. We're kind of hell-bent on like trying to put a championship team together and out there. I would say the difference is we are deeper now. So it allows for those things to happen. Which looks like, I guess, urgency or whatever. But to me, that hasn't changed.
Well, listen, I'm not saying that you guys don't want to win prior years. You know, the payroll is very high. I know some people get on Hal. I don't have an issue with Hal. He spends a lot of money. You know, I've said what I've said about Brian, even though I respect him. But to me, yeah, I think maybe behind the scenes, you guys have always operated with that urgency. But what we're seeing is, and I'm sure it's based on the depth, if you don't perform at a certain level, we got somebody else that we're putting in. And that's why I asked about Jazz, if he can maybe become a platoon player if it doesn't get going. And the Volpe stuff and the Heel stuff and the McMahon stuff and all the Dominguez didn't make the team, which I didn't agree with, and I told you that. But when I talked to you in February, you're like, we'll see. And I did not think he was going to make the team, and he didn't. And I thought he did it enough last year to show that he was a major league player. But the fact that he didn't start the team with the year with the bigs, to me was like just another underscore of, hey, we're not messing around, man. And I like to see it. So I like to see it. What I got to see, though, coming up this week, I got to see you handle the Mets easier, Booney. You can't let the Mets get going. You can't let them get going. You can't. Let's go, dude. That's it. Put him in the grave. And here's one more thing, and I'm curious. When you see Juan, I know you got great respect for Soto, but when you see Juan, are we dapping up? Are we hugging? Or are you like, this dude left us, man? He's great, but, yo, you left us, man. You do your thing.
I'll give him a big hug. It'll be good to see him. Hopefully we contain him, but he was great for us, and he was great with us. Probably still misses us.
You think so? Yeah, you don't think he's enjoying 16 and 25 and like 5 scrubs around him? I mean, you think he misses that? Where's Volpe hitting today? 7th, 8th, or 9th?
8th.
He's hitting 8th. Okay. Where's Jazz at? 6, 7?
5.
5. Drop him down a slot. Make him earn it. All right, man.
We're just a little,
I get
look,
it.
he was hitting 6 when he was at 30-30. And, when G comes back in certain things, then, you get into a good spot there.
Hey, by the way, don't be averse to doing it all the time. I know Goldie's been very good for you guys. I know you love him, too. Great leader. I would start against righties. I'm going Ben Rice 1, Aaron Judge 2. That's what I would do. And you don't do it enough. Why don't you do that? If Shohei Ohtani could hit first, why can't Ben Rice?
He can, and he has before.
But I mean, all the time against righties, Skip. All the time, I would do it.
But then, what's it look like after that?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, Belly 3's been great. Bellinger's great. He's been really good.
Because a couple of these times, today I only got 2 righties in the lineup. So you start hitting Judgy second, and then you've just got all these patches of runs for lefty relievers. So that's where you miss kind of Big G in the mix too.
Well, listen, you know that
presence in the middle.
We always oversimplify this. I know it's never as easy as it is. We make it seem easier than it really is, dude. Go do your thing. I told you guys. Listen, thank God you won.
Hall of Famer.
Huh?
Cash a Hall of Famer.
Who is?
Brian.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but that doesn't mean he's been as good as he was early in his career. I mean, there's a lot of Hall of Famers. The last 10 years, they were holding on. I'm not saying Cash is holding on.
He's great at it, BT.
He's really good at it. Great's a little bit of a stretch. Come on, man. Great? I mean, 2009's been a minute, Booney. Come on.
I know.
All right, so he's good. He's a Hall of Famer. We agree on that? He's great at it right now.
He's great at it.
Yeah. All right, man. Go get a win. I appreciate you adjusting the schedule. Thank you for your generosity. I'll see you later, Booney.
See you, man.
There you go, dude. There he is. Of course, the skipper of the Yankees, Aaron Boone. He's got to drop that last thing at the end. Cash is great. He's good.
Awesome.
He's great.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I love him. I do. Listen, and people say, oh, you're not hard on Boone. Dude, I think that, because of our friendship.
You were definitely digging a little bit, trying to dig.
Dude, come on. I'm never going to fuck around with this stuff. Like, whatever needs to be asked is going to be asked. And he knows that. Like, really, I'll never forget. I was going, it was my daughter's rec basketball game, and the phone rings, and it's him. And one thing I should say this too. I do measure people not just on wins and losses. I know that that's basically the essence of my job. But when you have the kind of character that Aaron Boone has, I'm going to support you. Now, I'm not going to, if the Yankees won 81 games this year, I'd say, all right, it's time for change, man. Like at some point, there's a point of expiration. But when things went down, first of all, he came into studio with me and Sal. I mean, he's just a real one. He's just a great freaking guy. And I know that many of you wish you had a different manager. I think one of the things that he said right there about the option or the optionality, as a lot of these coaches and managers like to use, or GMs, optionality. Part of the reason they appear more cutthroat this year, and I do think that they are, despite what he just said, is that there are more options. And I think that that's been part of the issue with Brian Cashman. And that's why, in terms of the pecking order of issues, Brian Cashman has always been far ahead of Aaron Boone for me. Like, you can, listen, this is not like high school basketball where you can have some inferior team, but, you can stall and you can come up with some elaborate game plan, and there's a massive disparity in talent. But because you're such an innovative coach and everything's so well oiled that you can compete at a level that you probably shouldn't compete. This is Major League Baseball. I mean, you get to a certain level, you either got the horses or you don't. And what I've always said about Aaron Boone is that there has not been, now some of you disagree with this, and that's fine. That is fine. But I don't think that he has ever had a season where I went into the year saying the Yankees should win the World Series, and they didn't. Now, I thought they'd have a much better chance to get there with Soto, but we knew the Dodgers were better. Now, the Yankees didn't play well. They were not buttoned up, kicking the ball all around. Judge, the play at first base with Cole and Rizzo, Jazz, in space at second. Understood the play with Volpe and Jazz at third base. No question about that. Yankees were not buttoned up, and the Dodgers said so. And I thought that was a bad look for the Yankees. But the ability to maximize a roster, you got to have some players to lean on. Like, that's why I'm always going to be fair. And Cashman, most of the pitchers he picked up last year have stunk. They've stunk. But Rosario, really good addition. Caballero, outstanding addition. And to me, you look back at the Yankee dynasty. Now, of course, they had just more great players, obviously. But, are you telling me Joe Torre was a better manager than Aaron Boone? I would tell you that. Now, I can't prove one way or the other, but I would tell you that Joe Torre had a lot more options. And I don't just mean Tino and Jeter and Bernie and Mo and Pettit and Clemens and Posada and Darryl and Tim Raines and Mariano Duncan. I'm talking about, across the board, reliable relief pitchers, Mendoza, obviously Stanton, guys like setting things up for Mo. I just feel like it's always been more mix and match with the most recent iteration of the Yankees. So I'm not saying that Aaron Boone is Miller Huggins and without flaw, but I just think that and I do think he really mismanaged the game over the weekend in Milwaukee, right? But in terms of the bullpen, what he did there, I think that, and I didn't have an issue with him pulling Weathers the other night. I know some of you did. I didn't, whatever. I just think that, you are so disappointed and so disenchanted with the fact that the Yankees haven't won since 2009 that everything becomes a target. And that's fair game. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. The only thing that I would say is that I think you're a little misguided in some of the criticisms, okay? That's the baseball point of view, all right? One thing about Booney that many of you don't know. So, me and Sal are doing the middays at the Fan. And like, it's one thing you're Francesa and Chris or Francesa Solo or even the morning show, Boomer and Carton, whatever it might be. Like, you're going to get a manager or, a bit like Dolan goes on with Craig. Obviously, they've got a good relationship. And obviously, Mike had, hooks up the wazoo, knew everybody. I mean, Aaron Boone drove from Connecticut in his car by him. No entourage, no Yankee PR people, right? Drives from Connecticut. And just to hang out with me and Sal to play the baseball card game, just to kick it around, just shoot the shit. That's the kind of guy he is. And, that's when we were still employed. And one of the first calls I got when the news hit was Aaron Boone. And I actually remember pulling over to the side of the road on my last show, the one where my dad came on. You guys remember it, December 19th. And I talked to Booney for about 40 minutes, and we didn't talk about baseball once. Like, we talked about life and we talked about faith. And so if any of you have an issue with the way I treat Boone, that's just tough. I mean, he's not perfect, but that is a good man. And then when we decided, and it was my idea to get this thing going, hey, let's do a BT and South show. Let's see if we could sell this thing out. And let's, have a celebration and have a live studio audience. Obviously, a lot of people were disappointed that we were gone from the Fan, and it's all good. And I called up Booney. I'm like, hey, can you do me a solid? He's like, yep. He's like, give me some dates. What do you got? I'm going out of Tampa here. I'm thinking late January. Guy shows up. Guy drives from Connecticut. We offered him a car. We want, I had a nice luxury car service. He's like, no, I'm good. I got it. Drives from Connecticut, goes to Red Bank, New Jersey, hangs out in the green room, does a shot of vodka before we go on the stage, kicks it on the stage with me and Sal. Sal getting on him with Grisham, me getting on him with Grisham, some jazz stuff, just laughing. The guy is just an awesome human being. Now, that doesn't mean that you're the Yankee manager for 25 years. You got to win. But that is a good person. And, I think if you knew him the way that I know him, you would absolutely agree. And, think about some of the things that we just hit, right? Just to bring it back to baseball. That is going to be a tough conversation, man. If you are Weathers, and there's still probably 2 weeks before Garrett Cole comes back, but if you're Weathers or you're Will Warren, and, hey, we got to talk, man. You go into Boone's office, and whether it's Weathers or Warren, somebody's losing their starting job in the rotation. And that's going to be a dent because Warren deserves to be a starter in Major League Baseball. And so does Ryan Weathers, who's looked dominant, like 4 or 5 starts. He looks unhittable. So, and I was surprised, and I believe him. Hey, any reluctance to have 60% of your rotation lefties because you already have Fried, Rodon's already back. And if it's Weathers, 3 out of the 5 guys are left-handed pitchers, and 65% of the hitters in baseball are right-handed. So, they can play on all the numbers, reverse splits and all that stuff. He's like, nah. He's like, I'm just looking for the best pitcher. So I thought that was interesting. Listen, what you just heard there as well, Lombard's coming to the Bronx this year. You could take that to the bank. And I said that when he was raking at AA and they moved him up to AAA as quickly as they did, that told you he will be in pinstripes this year. This year. He will be a Yankee. And what's going to be really interesting, and I asked him about this, and his answer told you a lot. If Jazz Chisholm doesn't wake up, Jazz ain't playing every day. Like, they're not just going to keep running him out there. Now, he is going to heat up at some point. Weather's going to get warm. He's already got, 13, 14 steals. He's going to hit some bombs. He's going to look better than he looks. And I'm not a Jazz fan, but his track record tells you that he's not going to hit 202 this year with an OPS of 599, whatever it is. So he's going to get going. But if he gets going and then he drops back down and Lombard gets called up, and Volpe sticks, or even if Volpe doesn't play well and gets sent back to the minors, Caballero goes back to shortstop, you're going to see Lombard at second base. So there's so many things in play right now with the Yankees. It is incredibly intriguing. It really is. And the bullpen, and it's not just about Weathers or Warren. It's about Rodriguez. It's about LeGrande. It's about, other guys going into different roles that Clark Schmidt, when he comes back in, I would have to say late July, or I didn't ask him about Clark Schmidt. I'll get him back on at some point. We'll have a little more time as well. But I mean, this is one of the reasons, and they're far from perfect, but this is one of the reasons why I think the Yankees, if they remain healthy, will represent the American League in the World Series. I really do. Now, I've got a lot of respect for Tampa. I'm not completely burying Toronto. There's a couple of other, you still got to play well. You still got to perform. You still got to get it done. But you cannot tell me with this starting rotation, a healthy Judge, a healthy Rice, better speed, better defensively. I know everybody's worried about the bullpen, but stop worrying about the bullpen. I'm not saying that you can't react to blown saves like we've seen the last, going back to the Milwaukee series and the other night against the Orioles and Weathers' gem. That sounds weird. Weathers is, but it's correct. Weathers' gem was flushed down the chute. I get it. You're going to react to it. You're pissed off. So was I. Again, we went from maybe watching a no-hitter to taking an L. Like, I get it, but it's May. And the version of the Yankee bullpen now is going to be radically different from the bullpen that tries to get those big outs in October. Trust me. All right, J-Rod, anything that you wanted to chime in on there, buddy? What did you take away from the Booney conversation?
I mean, I just find it to be so interesting how a coach operates. I mean, obviously we had Patino on, but there's a much different level of scrutiny that you're hitting Patino with questions with versus a guy like Booney.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think it's just awesome how, he has to balance that level of like honesty, but also like sticking up for his guys. I think that's just like the most interesting part of this dynamic.
Yeah. And listen, you have to understand, I mean, having had enough conversations with Aaron, I know how he feels about everybody. I just do. I know who he truly believes in. And listen, there's things that I disagree with. I told him straight up. I'm like, when he said about McMahon, if you had a little gif of me rolling my eyes, literally sitting in my car waiting to go coach my daughter's rec game, I'm like, he's selling me on Ryan McMahon, as a hitter. I don't mean as a fielder. I'm like, I don't believe it. I didn't buy it. And the first month of the season, I'm like, this guy is even worse than I thought. But the one thing about baseball, and the one thing, and it's very similar to golf. I mean, I guess you could probably apply this to everything, but I think those two areas, as a hitter, I guess as a pitcher as well, but as a hitter and as trying to strike a golf ball, when you overhaul, even if it's not an overhaul, but a fairly important tweak, when you do that, you are invariably going to step back before you go forwards. Yep. It's just going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and say that Ryan McMahon's going to hit 273 this year. I'm not saying that at all, but he just can't be an automatic out. Because too often Austin Wells has been an automatic out. Yeah. And too often, in his Yankee career, Anthony Volpe has been an automatic out. And if Volpe's playing, which he's going to be playing today and certainly the next week or so, whatever, and maybe beyond that if he plays well. But, when you have Volpe and some sort of variation of or order of Volpe, Wells, McMahon, in whatever order you want to jumble them up in, if you got three guys hitting 202, I understand. You don't have to be the 98 Yankees or the 61 Yankees or the Dodgers lineup from last year. I don't necessarily need that. I don't, or the big red machine. But you just can't have three guys who can't put the ball in play. So that was great, man. That was really, really good. Everybody enjoy it? What?
Seems like it. Seems like people enjoyed it. People have really gotten into in the chat a debate of whether Giancarlo Stanton will be in the Hall of Fame or not.
That's what they take away from the conversation. Aaron, Giancarlo Stanton making a Hall of Fame? Guys, get your act together.
There's a lot of that. There's trade.
Give me a little focus here.
There's trade Jazz, definitely.
I would trade Jazz in a heartbeat. Okay. And hey, there is a fine line between being overtly disrespectful to the Yankee manager and letting him know how I feel. He knows the question about Jazz being a platoon player, if this doesn't pick up, that is going to be a very interesting development to this season. Yeah. Because to me, and that's why I asked him, I'm like, I was surprised that you guys had Lombard playing a little bit of second base. I would have punted Volpe over there. I mean, the arm strength's not even comparable, superior for Lombard, obviously. And Caballero defensively has been phenomenal this year. And not everybody wanted to hear it. I do think, one thing when Boone talks about numbers, a lot of Yankee fans roll their eyes. All you have to do is watch Caballero play shortstop on a nightly basis, and the urgency in which he attacks the ball, the arm strength, Like, there's a reason why I'm not saying I'm sitting here watching every single shortstop across the board in Major League Baseball, but comparing him to Anthony Volpe, he's just better. I mean, the eye test, forget about the advanced analytics, the eye test, he's just better. So, it's options are really, really good. And, I think for the first time in a long time, I think the Yankees actually have some options where if you don't perform, we're not rolling you out there. Whereas back in the day, what the hell are we going to do? All right, Aaron Hicks, he's not doing anything. Well, I guess we got to play him. All right, Anthony Rizzo is playing concussed, and he's hitting 203 for 2 months, but I don't have anybody else. Got to put him at first base. Or, we don't have a left fielder for the 17th time this century. Anthony Gallo strikes out 2.5 times a game, but not Joey, Anthony Gallo. Shout out to my guy Gallo with the Fan. Good dude. Big Knicks fan, big Johnny's guy. I heard him on the air the other day, too. He sounds good. I've told him that. He's getting a chance to do some more shows. Good for him. But the Joey Gallo, striking out 2.5 times a night, you don't have a left fielder. You got to run him out there. So this all represents good. Now, there's no guarantee that they will navigate this perfectly. But to me, the more options you have, yes, the more chances you have to make the wrong choice, but the more chances you have to make the right choice. So, there you go. Let me just let me see. Let me bump into some of these things before I get to some of the Stern stuff. Willie _ Long Beach. Wow, Willie, Borelli's, my friends over at Borelli. Shout out to my guy Quinny over at Borelli's and the entire Long Beach family. Love Long Beach there. As a Mets fan, I hate that Boone is so likable. He's just a nice guy. That's all there is to it. I remember you know what he is like? He's so approachable. He's so down to earth. He's so grounded. Again, that doesn't grant you a 30-year lifetime exemption. I get it. I remember, and I always appreciated this about Craig Carton. I remember when I first started on the Fan with Tiki's before Sal. Craig was obviously still there. And I think this was before he left for TV. I guess it would have been. Yeah, because then Tiki moved in. Yeah. So he reached out, and this was probably 4 years, maybe 5 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood, about a half a decade. And he reaches out, and I've always gotten along with Craig, but never professed to have this great deep friendship. I never had an issue, and I like Craig. I was texting with him the other day. I said, hey, if you need somebody to come on and break down the Johnnies, that went over so well last time. Let me know. I'll come on with you and C-Mac. Those guys sound good. I catch them once in a while. They said they sound good. Anyway, Craig invited me to go to his home in New Jersey to watch the Super Bowl with my wife and kids. And Booney was going. Chris Christie was going to be there. That's his buddy. And Aaron Boone was going to be there. And he's like, I remember Craig's like, dude, just don't berate him. Just don't, because, I was on Booney pretty hard at that point. And like what I was seeing. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not. I'm just going to watch the game and have a couple beers and hang out, shoot the breeze. My son will get a kick out of meeting the Yankee manager. But anyway, his youngest son, I think he had COVID and he had to cancel it. But just think, I don't know. I'm not saying that Joe Torre wouldn't do that, or I don't know, but the guy's just going to Craig's house to watch the Super Bowl. He's just that kind of guy. And you see, he really is a sports fan. He loves his Eagles, I hooked him up at a St. John's game last year. He came to sat courtside at the Johnny's game. He just loves his basketball, loves his football. Anyway, you know how I stand on that. All right. So, what do you mean? Let's get the poll going here. People are asking you to get a poll.
No, they. I mean, I know you weren't the biggest fan last time. Montage One wants me to drop a poll of how many people would rather have Jazz over Volpe.
Jazz, that would be a very interesting poll, actually. I mean, if you want to make it,
I'll drop it.
Drop it. It's just as long as it doesn't look like it's from 1976. I mean, if you can make it look somewhat modern and current, then we could do it. I am very curious about the results of that poll there because, get it up there, Jay.
All right, I'll toss it up.
Because I think so many Yankee fans are done with Jazz. And so many Yankee fans are done with Volpe. I think the difference... Man, if I had to take a guess, I think it would be very close. I think it would be 52-48, 53-47, 54-46. I'll stop there so I don't mess up the math. Favoring Volpe. I think Yankee fans know he's a little bit more locked in. I think there's a little bit of intrigue with Volpe eventually moving to second base if he could hit a little bit more consistently and get on base. That could be an interesting one.
We'll
Could
see.
be an interesting one. If
So
you guys
far,
want
Jazz is at 100%.
that they would rather see Jazz than Volpe at second.
Yep.
I mean, how many votes? One?
No, like 6 or 7 so far, but they're coming in. They're coming in.
That's gonna flip. Oh, it's updated in real time.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right. Let's get a couple of calls on the Boone spot. We'll get to that as well. What else do we have? All right, let me get to the Mets here. David Stearns, can you pop that up on the screen there? So David Stearns met the media yesterday, and here's what David Stearns had to say. Quote, I do believe we can turn it around, but we have not shown that yet. No kidding. We've got the talent on the roster and the character on the roster to make a run. We'll get back to that in a minute. There's a lot of season left. That's true. I'm not going to say it's early. That's true. It's not. We're quarter into the season. True. It's not early anymore. True. But we have enough season left to make a run. True. I would agree with that. And I think we've got the talent and the character to do that. Where's the evidence of that? You got the talent and the character. What are you talking about? I mean, you basically have to say that because you're the one who just blew up the team and built it back up. I mean, so no general manager who is responsible for this overhaul is going to say, we suck and we're going nowhere and it's on me. I mean, obviously. So do they have the talent? No, I don't think that they have the talent to go on a run here. Now, I would like to know what his definition of a run would be. Are you talking about like, I don't think it's a lock that the Mets just win 76 games and bleed out and trade, Peralta and trade Bichette and just, do a fire sale. And you see, Clifford up at first base and obviously Benj and Ewing. Hopefully those guys are there to stay. Like, I'm not saying you're going to see that, but where is the evidence that they've got enough talent? And I think the better question is, where the hell is the evidence they've got the character? Where's the character of this team? First of all, it's been, 40-ish games, whatever it's been. So I think it's a little bit too early to determine if the character is really good or really bad, and attach a level of definitiveness to it, if you will. I'm not even going to do that. I surmise that the character's not where it needs to be. I strongly surmise that the talent is nowhere near where it needs to be. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, listen, I will say you can get me off. You can get Stearns off there. I think that, and I said this at the top of the show there, I think that the more, and I never thought this about Stearns. I really never thought this, but yesterday it really hit me. You got to drop the arrogant act here, man. It's just, it's very unbecoming. It doesn't fit you, and you have not earned the right. David Stearns has not earned the right to walk around with an attitude that he's starting to walk around with. I don't see it, man. There's a time, remember the old show, what was it? Let's Make a Deal, door 1, door 2, door 3. I would go with door 1, which is the humble route. Just be humble, man. Now, you do acknowledge that it has not been good enough, and I respect that. I mean, geez, that's a starting off point. If you couldn't admit that, then we have bigger issues than we think here. But this guy's leaning on the talent of the team, and he's leaning on the character of the team. I mean, last year's team didn't have any character, and that's why it's been disbanded, and they didn't have enough talent. This year's team is worse. So I'm not really sure how you're sitting here saying that there's enough talent and enough character. I don't see it. But he is going to dig his own grave further because many people, I don't know where Evan stands on Stearns. I know he's obviously disgusted, but I can't imagine he's been quite as definitive or as pointed as, say, Joe has, his former partner. I mean, Joe said this day one, the Ivy geek, which I thought was unfair. I mean, there's a lot of brilliant baseball people. Not that I love the overwhelming infiltration of numbers and implementation of numbers into the game. And many of these, are Ivy educated. And God bless you if you're smart enough to go to an Ivy school. They would have laughed at me. I mean, they would have taken my $100, whatever for the application fee and then ripped it up and they would have used it as toilet paper. Are you kidding me? I mean, God. Hey, Jay. So you're a Syracuse guy.
Yes, sir.
Right, J-Rod? Now, what other schools did you apply to? Just out of curiosity. I don't know if I ever asked you this.
UVM,
UVM, what's
Delaware,
that?
University of Vermont.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a fun school.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, Syracuse was my top choice. Like I applied early decision there, so when I got in, I was kind of locked in.
Okay, the Catamounts though. UVM, good stuff.
UVM, Delaware, George Washington.
Good schools.
Kind of like the basic. I don't know how to describe it. Like the basic
cut below Ivy.
Northeast schools. Like a lot of those, but no smaller schools. And no massive ones. Like, I guess I applied to Penn State, but I was never going to go there. Or like in Indiana, I don't believe I applied to. So it was a lot of like Northeast, Eastern, sports-ish schools. Like
Got it. All right, so let me get so you got, hold on, Delaware, Vermont. Obviously, you went to Q's. Delaware, Vermont, GW. One of my best friends went to GW. Played baseball there. Good school, fun.
Dude, I liked it down there a lot.
Dude, I can't get into the details. I had one of the wildest weekends I've ever had in my life when I went down to visit him at GW. Just
That's so funny.
I remember I got there. First of all, this knucklehead is my best man at my wedding, right? Went to high school with him. Absolute lunatic. And now so I'm up at Marist, and it was during the fall, and I'm doing my fall season, and he's doing his fall season at GW. Then the fall season's over. We both had a free weekend, maybe before Thanksgiving. So I did have a car at that point, but I wasn't going to drive. So I needed Dad because I didn't have a pot to piss in financially. I needed my dad to get me an airline, right? So first of all, this knucklehead sends me to the wrong airport. There's two airports in the DC area. He sends me to the wrong one, one. And I remember I'm like, "Are you sure this is it?" Whether Dulles and then the other one, whatever the other, I'm forgetting. But sends me to the wrong one.
Sure.
I get out and I'm like, all right, can you take me to someone because he lived off campus, so and so near George Washington University. The guy's like, George Washington, it's like an hour and 10 minutes away. I'm like, what? So that was like $100, which I barely had as well.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I get there and it was like an early flight, and this is when I always had. I mean, we had so much fun together. But this is when I knew it was going to be an off the charts wild weekend. He left the key to his apartment with the concierge, right? And there was a note on the table, and he's like, yeah, I'll be home at like noon. Like he was still out from the night before.
Dang,
I got there like 10:30 in the morning.
nuts.
He wasn't even home yet. We had fun, man. So GW was great. Never hung out at Delaware. I know it's a lot of fun. I've got some friends that went there. Good academic school. Good, just a good school. Flacco went there. Yeah, it's
the
good.
campus is beautiful.
I've heard.
It's
And then,
really
but how's
nice.
the Vermont campus compared to Delaware?
I mean, it's certainly not as beautiful because it's more woodland. Similar size. It's pretty big. I mean, I liked it up there a lot. It was just like beautiful kind of woodland area. Burlington itself is like, it's like a pretty nice-ish town. I think it's nicer than Syracuse, certainly smaller, but it's got a cute little vibe to it, I guess.
Yeah, good little basketball team too. Who was that? Who's the dude? Who was that guy?
David Roddy?
No, before him, the white guy for Vermont. You going back, so 15. Like he was really,
I know what you're talking about.
Good, man. Really good.
I mean,
they may beat Syracuse. Wait, they may beat Syracuse in the tournament.
Back in the day.
The hell was
Gus,
his name?
No, not Gus Yalden.
No, if you say it, I'll know it.
Anthony Lamb, Taylor Coppenrath.
Coppenrath. There you go. He was good. Now, what year was that?
2005. Yep.
Oh,
his number 22 jersey's retired, and he led UVM to their first tournament win.
Was it against Syracuse?
Let's see.
I thought they beat Syracuse, like in a 12-5 matchup. He was awesome. Tyler Coppenrath was great. He was great. I remember watching them on TV quite a bit. Good little gym. Wow. I actually played against Vermont when I was at Marist.
Syracuse in OT.
Yes. There you go.
That's nuts.
I remember playing against Vermont when I was at Marist, and then they dropped the baseball team like Providence did. Title IX had to spread the money around. They lost their program. See, the thing is, and we'll get back to the show. I remember I just applied to basically all these schools. I mean, I was going to apply to like what schools were looking at me, obviously, for baseball. And back, I guess you could still do it now, but the baseball coaches would just waive the fee, the application fee. So I think back then it was 100 or whatever it was. They would just waive it.
No way, it was 100 because I feel like it was $30 for my age.
No, it was at much more than $30. No
way.
Not that I ever really paid it, but they would waive it. So I would just apply to all these schools, even if they didn't. Because listen, the way the recruiting goes is, even if they don't really want you, they're going to. So I was applying to some of these big schools, like rejected. Next. Oh man, is the Yankee lineup up? Let me see if I can pop this on. I'll find it. I'll probably find this pretty quick. Well, I mean, it's got to be up now. It's 11:05 here. Let's see here. Go to the old Twitsky, a little Twitter. Go to the old Yankees. Oh, here we go. All right. First thing that popped up. Grisham, Rice, Judge, Belly, Jazz, McMahon. Wow, McMahon moving up in the lineup. Spencer Jones in right field. Okay. Interesting there, Booney. Then we got J.C. Escar. Thank God Wells is not playing. Max Fried, Volpe, 8. So Grisham, 1 in center. Ben Rice, 2 at first. Judge, DHing. Get him off his feet. Good. Get him ready for that Mets series. Third, batting third DH. Bellinger, left field, batting 4th. Jazz in the 5 spot. Back at second base. McMahon, 6 third base. Jones, 7 right field. Volpe, 8 short. And Escara behind the plate. Max Fried on the bump there. So, it's some of the numbers where I have them written down. I don't want to just bombard them with because trust me, if anybody knows how bad the numbers are with Jazz, Boone knows. I'm going to geek out for a second. It's not going to be long, but here's 3 things you need to know about Jazz right now. His barrel rate right now, is 5%, which is in the 31st percentile in baseball. Awful. His weighted on base average is in the 5 percentile in Major League Baseball, and his expected slugging percentage is in the 11 percentile. The 11 percentile, man. I'm telling you. Listen, they are not going to run him out there if they have a more viable option, and I don't know that they will. I really don't know what to expect from Anthony Volpe. I'm happy he's back, man. I'm a Volpe fan. And, I listen, Sal would always get on me with this. I just have a soft spot for local kids. Going back to Mark Jackson, you name it. I mean, to me, it's, if you're a local kid, we went to high school 15 miles from where I'm sitting right now. Grew up a Yankee fan, first round pick, shortstop, Dale Barton, come on. And, played with like Witt and all those guys, Henderson, like Team USA, all those teams growing up the ranks, those like 15 and 16-year-old team, junior Olympic stuff, whatever. He has not played like a first-round pick. And there comes an expiration point like there was a conversation last year. Should the Yankees send him down? And I said, no, I do not believe there's any value with him being sent down. I didn't believe it then, and they didn't do it. Now, maybe it's the wrong move. Maybe if they would have done it, something would have clicked. I still don't think so, because until Anthony Volpe goes through a complete overhaul of his approach and his mechanics, where he's not chasing loft and, he's more flat through the zone and more to right center field and letting the ball get deep and getting on base and not whiffing its sliders in the dirt. So it's 0-1, and then found the fastball letter high because it's a little bit high. You can't get on top of it. It's 0-2. And now you're dead. When you're 0-2 in Major League, I don't give a shit who you are. You're dead. It's over. Like the drop. If you look at the hitters counts, even 1-0, there's a real favorable advantage. 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-0, 3-1 versus 0-1, 0-2, 1-2. It is a massive disadvantage from a hitter's perspective when you get in that hole there, because it just opens up so many more pitches and the ability to expand the zone, because you're not going to walk somebody if you throw it 7 inches off the plate. But somebody like Volpe or Wells or maybe a Spencer Jones or Dominguez, those young guys are going to swing at it. And, the evidence has not been there that there's going to be enough growth for Volpe, but I'm to justify him, staying around. And let's face it, if he didn't get hurt, if Caballero did not get hurt, Anthony Volpe's still in AAA right now. That's all there is to it. And, what was Volpe's numbers collectively here? Played 9 games in AA and 9 games in AAA, and his average, I believe, combined 205 with a 580 OPS. Like, it's not like I feel a little bit better if he had 5 doubles, hitting 312, 8 steals, like just terrorizing minor league. But now I know it's his spring training. I get that, and I'm sure. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but like, say if the Yankees would have sent him to the minors last year, but he was still fully in rhythm, and he was playing every day at the big league level, just wasn't playing well. And then you go to the minors, and there's just not the quality of pitching that there is in the bigs. I'm pretty sure Volpe would have hit, like I would think. But he did not hit in the minors. So it wasn't based on merit. It was based out of necessity and based on circumstances here. And Caballero's a dog. Like, you don't care about Volpe. He's trying to plant his flag as a major leaguer trying to get paid instead of being a super sub like he was with Tampa, and like the Yankees had designs on him being when they acquired him, and like he was when he first got here. A little right, a little second, a little short, a little third, bounce around, a little pinch run. So he's trying to get the bag. And I'm not saying he's going to get $100 million, but if Caballero puts up a season where he steals, he always steals bases, 40-something steals. I'm just throwing numbers out. What's he got, 4 or 5 home runs now, 14, 15 home runs, hits 265 on base at a much higher rate than Volpe, and plays a superior shortstop, which he's been great so far this year, as I said. Whenever it's time for, the pre-arb is up, and he's going to, if he does that for 2-3 years, you're going to get, a 3-year deal for, I don't know, 15, 30, 45-ish million dollars at least in the ballpark. So he doesn't care about Volpe. He doesn't care about Bill Barton. He doesn't care about New Jersey. He doesn't care about the local boy. He cares about himself. And he did not want to go on the IL. And I know he protested vigorously with Boone, because Boone said it. I was watching his pregame press conference last night in the dugout in Baltimore. He's like, yeah, it was not easy. He didn't want to go. And the last thing that he said when he was leaving the clubhouse last night, he's like, 1 day down, 9 days, I'm back. Like, this guy is hell-bent on coming right back. And if Volpe doesn't play well, it's a very easy decision, because he did not earn the elevation here based on performance. So if he's, 203, 180, couple of strikeouts, if there's no other injuries, knock on wood, Volpe's going back down to the minors. He just is. You'd have to think, no? He's certainly not going to play every day. Like, now we are absolutely past the point of, if you don't perform, Volpe, and it's been kind of the mantra of the 2026 Yankees, even though Booney said there is no more urgency. I see it differently. You know how I feel. I think there is more urgency. We'll see. How's the poll doing, by the way? Why'd you take it down?
Oh, I took it down just because, make sure for the content. Come on, it's looking clean when we drop that Stearns segment.
Oh, look at you. Can you update? What do we got here?
Jazz 67, Volpe 33.
You guys, but yeah, listen, Jazz has a little more life in the bat. I get it, but
the comments are not very hot on Volpe. I have to say.
I know they're not. I know. Why would they be? There's no evidence.
Yeah.
Or there's not enough evidence. I get it. Listen, there is an expiration point on everything. You're always going to get more room, more runway. If you're a first-round pick, like let's see if the Jets, whomever they draft, Arch, whatever they do in the draft next year, 2027, whatever quarterback they get, in round one, you'd have to imagine they'll do that, unless Klubnik winds up being the guy, which, whatever. That evaluation, it's going like Darnold, although Darnold didn't get as much. Zach got a little more room, but you get somebody like Brady Cook or somebody like Mike White, you get a couple of games, and if you're not drafted or barely drafted, you're out. Like, so many of these decisions, and fans don't want to hear it, but it matters, are tied to the economics and the investment in terms of draft equity and what kind of contract you have. That's life, dude. It's the way it goes, So, I don't know. I cannot shake this cold, man. Crazy.
Yeah, no, you have been fighting that thing, man.
A little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get some water here, Jay. What else is cooking? Yeah. What are people saying about Stearns? This guy up there trying to recreate the rooms. Dude.
Let me see. Let me
chill.
Go back to the Stearns. GW. Well, here's one. Alonzo's comment about Stearns made my day.
Great. It was great. Yeah, Willie
awesome.
and Long Beach. Check him. How about we get somebody other than Willie and Long Beach? I love Willie. I love Long Beach too. But yeah, there's no doubt about that. That was a couple of years ago. What he said publicly is he's bit his tongue, and he said the right thing, because when the Yankees first played Baltimore, SNY, rightfully so, goes out there. Hey, what do you think about that? Same thing with Brandon Nimmo when the Rangers came to the Bronx. You got to get those sound bites, got to get those clips. But man, I would love to have heard, Pete in real time say what he said there. How about Avery Summit checking in? Speaking of GM attitudes, when will Cashman admit he he aired with his Volpe take in the preseason. Let's see. Oh yeah. In that little fight, a little back and fight strong. How about contentious exchange with John Heyman a couple of years back? I don't know that he's ever going to admit that, really, because think about this. He's either going to come back now and play well, and then what he might do is take a victory lap at that point if he does play well. That he would do, right? Now, and if he doesn't play well, well, then it's on to the next one, as Jay-Z would say, and then you just kind of, if the Yankees are doing well and the Yanks are winning, well, then it's a non-story, and you bury it in the side of the corner of the room. So, no, I would not anticipate that Brian Cashman would willingly go back to that. Now, let's say that Yankees fall short of the World Series this year, and it's the end of the year press conference, state of the Yankees, off-season plans, all that stuff, and they hold that press conference, which they always do, and when Boone speaks and, maybe Hal would say something, Cashman wouldn't be able to run and hide from that. That wouldn't be primary. I mean, at this point, Volpe is just, he's a 7 or 8 hitter. He's a role player. He's not the leadoff hitter we hoped he would be. He's not a primary part of the team. I mean, the Yankees have, the best record in the American League and a plus 72 run differential, which is second best in baseball behind the Braves, and Volpe hasn't seen one pitch. So it's not like they can't function without Volpe. But yeah, that would come up at some point, and I would be curious, but he is stubborn. Brian Cashman is stubborn as a mule. He is. Yeah? And, the crazy thing about Cashman, and I'd really love to get Brian on the show. I don't know that he would come on the show. I don't know. I've talked to Brian probably, let's see, I think 3 times I've interviewed him. Once back in the day, once back in the day on 1050 years ago. I think I was all over him that was contentious. I think they were all contentious. Let's see. Then I had him on, I believe, once with Tiki and then once with Sal on the Fan.
Oh, okay.
We definitely had him on the Fan at least once. And if it was only once on the Fan, then it was twice at 1050. But no, I've definitely interviewed him. And you got to watch him because, listen, if anybody knows about rambling and turning a short story into a long one, it's me. I get that. I own that. But, I mean, Cashman could just go on. You ask him a question. You got to be quick. You got to listen. Like, the thing about Cash is when you have him and you ask him the question, you get a little filibuster going on here. Let's make sure. Let's not deviate. Let's go. Let's. All right, Cash. Brian. I don't mean to interrupt there, Brian. All due respect, and you got to get it back on the road.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this guy's hijacking it. Like, he could go on. Brian Cashman could give you a 2.5-minute answer, and it could sometimes be a non-answer. But funny, I actually do like the guy, and I do respect him. I do. I absolutely respect Brian Cashman's career. And, Booney was saying he's great at the end. No, he's not. He's not great, but he's not great now, and he's not been great for a while, with all due respect to Boone and Cash. But he has had a great career because he's in the Hall. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. He's a Hall of Fame executive. That, to me, is undeniable. Yankee fans flinch when I say that. Yankee fans protest. Yankee fans roll their eyes tough. I mean, if you do that, if you can't acknowledge that all the years now, Watson and Stick Michael built the first part of the dynasty, obviously. And then, but, Cashman has distinguished himself the last 2 championships after that. And then obviously 09 and even getting to the World Series in 03 and getting to the World Series in 2024. I'm not here to defend the guy. I mean, if anything, I've got more issues with him than I've got more good things to say. But man, I would love to get him on the show. I don't know if he thinks is he beneath coming on a YouTube show?
I don't know.
Probably not.
No one
pissed him off.
Listen, I feel like most people aren't like that anymore because a YouTube show to me is like kind of like a higher thing than most other programs now.
Oh, I agree with that. No, certainly in terms of reach and all that other stuff. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm trying to remember the last time we had him on. It was we were getting after it a little bit there, a little bit back and forth. But that's another good thing about Cashman. Like, he'll let you go. Like, he might internalize it and like personalize it. Like when he walks away, like, this motherfucker, man, I can't stand this guy. Like, why'd I do that? Or I'm sure there's a little bit of that. But he does let you, jab, and he'll spar with you, and I've always appreciated that.
Yeah, no,
I really. Fook your couch. Stearns doesn't have any answers right now, and going to be in front of the cameras going in front of the cameras is death. Well, don't sign up for the job. You know what New York's all about. You win, those cameras are great. You lose, those cameras are a death trap. Is what it is. We all know the deal. We all know the score. What do we got here? The match.
The Mets. The Mets.
Oh, the Mets. The Mets. The Mets will win 2 games against the Yankees. Good luck. I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say, no, they won't. I mean, it's baseball, Susan. I mean, they very well could. I mean, if you told me that this is the start of a little, energetic streak here for the Metsies to get their act together a little bit, I'm not going to shut the door on that possibility. I mean, there was a reason why I thought the Mets would win 91 games. I wasn't sitting here saying the Mets were going to be, trash, some wretched outfit, some comedy show of errors. I didn't think they'd be great. I didn't think they'd win the division, but I thought they'd be a playoff team. Let me just see if this would even come up here. See if I can get an advanced look at the Yankee-Met pitching matchups here. Let me see if I could get this. I should be able to. I've done it before. All right, and I got it. All right, so where are we at here? Why is that not? Okay, I got it. All right, so obviously Fried's going today. Schlittler. I mean, how about that? I mean, and then think about when Cole comes back. Fried, Schlittler, Cole. Bang, boom, boom. Chew on that. Oof. Fried and Schlittler. So we got Fried today, 105 first pitch. Then we've got Schlittler. Yeah, that is going to be filthy. That is going to be awesome, man. Friday night.
Oh, nice.
And we got Rodon. Yeah. And we got Rodon. I like Rodon. I don't love him, but I like him a little bit more than some of you guys do. I mean, you show him no respect. The guy's a competent, above-average major league pitcher, and he doesn't have to be the ace, and he doesn't have to be the number 2 or the 3. He's fine. And so he's got 6 years to go on the deal. So easy with the Rodon hate. But Fried today, love to see the Yankees win this one, man. How about Judgy, a little 3-run bomb? How about Volpe, a little, couple of, here we go. Couple of the singles, couple of the steals, maybe Benny Ballgame, a 2-run gapper. We got Fried. Now let's have him go 7 1/3, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits. Yankees win 7-1. Nice tidy win. No high leverage relief pitchers necessary. Easy lift in before the day off. Roll into Queens. Schlittler, Rodon, Weathers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then how about Weathers against Soto? I mean, Soto's great, but Weathers is an uncomfortable at bat, man. That dude is just. I would not really want to. I don't know what he's going to do with the rotation. I mean, I asked him. Everybody wants to know. It's still to be determined because Cole's not yet back, so I get it. You don't need the immediate answer. If I'm them and nothing changes negatively and they've got to make a decision, which they have to eventually, I go back and forth. I do vacillate on this because I look at Will Warren as a staple of the Yankee rotation for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. He's young. He's good. And then I watch Weathers pitch, and I'm like, the guy sometimes is untouchable. So, and he's a lefty, and he throws gas, and he's got that weird windup where he conceals the ball, very athletic delivery. So, I mean, good luck to that, man. It's going to be a tough choice, and I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. All right, we get some calls here. Was it 11:20? Show's flying. We started early today, so let's get a couple of calls, get a couple of more chats. Who's first up today, Jay? What do you got?
Got our friend Benji from Upper East Side.
Benji, I hope. Now I don't know if Benji's a Yankee or a Met guy. I know he's a big Knick guy. Benj, what's going on, bud?
What's up, BT?
Hello.
Hey, yeah, sorry I couldn't call in the last couple of days. This has been an insane week of scouting and rest for the next
scouting. Okay, coach.
Believe me, I'm scouting. As far as the Yankees go, I'm actually a huge Yankees fan. Nothing touches the Knicks for me, obviously. They're my heroes. But when I was a younger kid, I used to do birthday parties in the Yankees box. So I used to have a bunch of friends who we'd rent out. My father would rent out the box in the Mella Hall, Jesse Barfield days.
Yeah, how much? I mean, so this guy growing up the right way. We would go to Burger King and do pin the tail on the donkey. This guy's sitting in a Yankee suite with 10 of his buddies. Lucky you.
I was an aloof 8-year-old kid, but I remember how bad we were back in the day.
So you're talking late 80s. You're talking Barfield, Mel Holes, you said, Stump Merrill, right?
Andy Hawkins.
Of course.
Actually, it's funny because I referred to not exactly a family member of mine, but there was sort of a related person at a family event, and I said to them as a young kid, I said, "You look like Stump Merrill," and they were a little bit offended by that.
Stump Merrill had no neck, man. I mean, I can understand why he kind of looked like Shrek, like that
crazy.
big thick neck, and Stump was a baseball lifer, all respect. All right, so what'd you think about the Boone spot? What'd you take away from what Aaron said?
I loved it. I think Aaron's personality really comes through. He's a really relatable, down to earth person. There's no pretentious aspect to him whatsoever. I think those types of people are super refreshing. And obviously, like when you ask him pointed questions, it's difficult for him to say, "Oh, this guy's better than this guy."
Of course.
But I think phenomenal job by both of you. I think we have to be thrilled with where the Yankees are at 27-16. They've had a couple minor losing streaks. I think one of 6 games, one of 4 games.
I think it was 5. I think they lost 5 straight at that point. I thought it was 5. Either way.
No worries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the pitching has been a big pleasant surprise. With Will Warren's got a 1.16 WHIP. Schlittler's been one of the best, if not the second best pitcher in the American League so far.
Oh yeah.
We don't even have Cole. We know Rodon is good. With a caveat is my biggest issue with Rodon is that he has those games where he kind of unwinds, where you'll see him, it'll be like he can't get it out, and it's
I know.
Six hitters in, and the guy's drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
And it's been 30 minutes, and he can't get it out, and you're just like, oh my god.
Well, but listen, that's why he is not an ace, and even though the Yankees kind of paid him, that big money to be the co-ace with Garrett Cole. You don't need him to be that guy. I mean, he's not going to be the 5th starter, but once there is the return of Cole and then whatever recalibration of the starting rotation they wind up doing. I mean, Carlos Rodon's going to be going up against a lot of 4s and 5s from other teams, and they don't have somebody like Carlos Rodon. I mean, very few teams do.
For sure.
At the back of the rotation.
That's a great point. I think as far as the bullpen goes, my favorite relief pitcher, and this goes for last year, Fernando Cruz.
I love him. I've always said that.
I love his fire.
Yes.
Obviously, he loses control at times, walks a couple guys. He has a blip here and there, but overall, he can be unhittable. And Tim Hill's been absolutely mesmerizing so far. He's got a 1 ERA.
I got to tell you, man, and Benji, let me get bouncing here. We'll talk Knicks, obviously. Have fun watching the Cavs and the Pistons doing that scouting. Good job on that, Coach. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man.
You got it, buddy. So Tim Hill, I don't know if I said this on the air the other day. He comes in, and my son's like, "Oh God, Tim Hill." I'm like, dude, you got to put some respect on this guy's name. I understand he doesn't look the part, like he's not, some big flame throwing. Stop clowning Tim Hill. Like I'm saying to myself, you only wish that you could at some point get to what Tim Hill's doing in the majors. Tim Hill as a Yankee has been phenomenal. He has been absolutely phenomenal, man. He knows his role. He's incredibly reliable. I just want to look something up. And so there will be including in my house, there will be no Tim Hill slander. I'm not here for it. I mean, come on already. I mean, geez. He doesn't elicit the most confidence, And the thing about, as I'm looking something up, the thing about Fernando Cruz, who I've always liked, 'cause I do love his energy, but when you're a splitty guy, the feel's got to be there. And if the feel's not there from the outset, you're going to have issues, which is why I really, and they don't do it a ton, but like when Cruz comes in with a man on base, get him out there, 6th inning, 7th if necessary, until the bullpen gets reshaped, which it will. And then, let him see if that splitter is starting at the right spot, and then, dart into the proper spot. Because if it's starting too low, it's not going to present itself as a strike. It's going to hit the dirt. If it's starting too high and they recognize the spin, obviously it's a different kind of a spin. It's a tumble. And if it starts high and then it, by the time it drops, it's in the letters, it's in the wheelhouse, then Cruz is going to get hit a little bit. But his splitter is awesome. But it's like every pitch, it's not always there. Now, if you're a sinker guy or a cutter guy like Mo, nobody was just Mo with the cutter, and then everybody else wishes they had Mo's cutter, but you know what I mean, or heavy curveball reliant or sweeper, more modern baseball, I think it's easier to get that feel. The split finger, outside of Bruce Sutter back in the day with the Cardinals and a couple of others, Roger Craig, like forkball splitter, it's a little hit or miss, but I'm with Benji. I am a huge Fernando Cruz fan. This guy loves being a Yankee. He is a dog. All right, look at his numbers as a Tim. I mean, this is This is ridiculous, man. Tim Hill's been here 3 years, right? He's got a 2.44 ERA and he's pitched in 125 games. I mean, they roll him out there a lot, and his whip is barely over 1. Doesn't give up a lot of hits, doesn't get barreled a ton, and doesn't give up a lot of walks. So really, it actually, like, you think I'm joking, but it didn't. Like, when my son said that, I'm like, dude, stop, enough. Like, you watch enough of the Yankees, you got to stop dumping on this guy. Yeah, I know it's not Goose, or it's not Mo, whatever, or it's not, Chapman years ago. Guy's pretty good. So I am a Tim Hill fan, and I'm a Cruz fan as well. What else we got here, Jay? Let me get some of these tweets or chats, whatever it is. How are we doing with the poll here?
I haven't had it up yet since. So I mean, everyone answering the 1 or 2 in the chat for the poll, but still looking at the same numbers.
All right. This is an interesting thought. I didn't get into this with Boone. Maybe I could have. I only had 30 minutes. I wanted to get all the other stuff, had to cram it in, so we couldn't really mess around. Like, I wanted to have some fun. We'll get him back on more, longer format. And if they didn't change the game time, that we would have had a longer format. But anyway, out of the box, this is a good question. With Cole's age, recent injury history, low walk rate, and bulldog mentality, which is true, why not put him in the closer's role for 2026? We got more than enough starters for now, need major bullpen boost. It is a very fair thought. I think it would be a good move. I don't think there's any chance it's happening. You're just not doing it now. You're going to ride out Garrett Cole for the length of his contract, which I think is 2 more years. This and 1 more, I believe. It's obviously more on the short-term side. It's a starter. Now, we've seen this in the past with Johnny Smoltz. It's not happening here. I don't see it at all. But Avery, I'm with you. I wish I would have asked him that. Would have been interesting if he would have just been like, dude, are you what? And that's probably what he would have. That's what I would say. Like, if I'm sitting in the Camden Yards manager's office talking to me, and I get asked the question, and I'm the manager of the Yankees, hey, Skip, any thought about moving Garrett Cole to the closer's role? Like, what are you, an idiot? Like, that's probably what I would have said, or at least thought. But it's not an idiotic thought. It's actually a very sound baseball query. Like, really, like, I don't know. I don't know. Who do you like in the game tonight? I got to start wrapping things up. I got things to do today. I wanted to get Boone on. You got the Pistons or you got the Cavs? Pistons laying 4.5. It's in Detroit. Series tied at 2. You were wrong on the last one.
I know. That's what I mean. And so now I'm like, all right, tonight, Pistons won Cavs won the last game.
Cavaliers won the last game. Yeah. Remember, we had Cunningham.
Detroit.
Rough game, 5 turnovers, 9 for 19 shooting. And Mitchell had 43.
Because it's like, are the Pistons going to have that comeback, or are the Cavs going to kind of keep their foot on the gas?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the Pistons.
Gonna ride the home team tonight?
Yeah. Why not?
I think go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish up your thought.
I guess that's what I didn't do last time. And so that's where I'm going to correct my mistakes.
I think I agree with you. Now, in a perfect world, it's almost like I want the Pistons to win tonight, because if the Cavaliers, if the Cavaliers were to win tonight, and not only am I going to pick the Pistons, but I'm going to lay the 4.5 there. Give you a little pop on that. I say Pistons by about 8 or 9. But if the Cavs win, I'm just thinking solely from a Knick point of view, because that's all I care about with this. If the Cavs win, now I'm not saying the Pistons couldn't go to Cleveland and win, but you would think that there's a greater chance that the Cavs will win the next game at home. So, and especially with desperation, maybe a little more friendly whistle, kind of stretch that series out from the NBA's point of view. If the Pistons lose tonight and the Cavaliers go up 3-2, there's a, I don't know what percentage, but a decent chance the Cavs win the next game, and then they win 4 games to 2.
Play Sunday.
And I'm looking to go 7. I want this thing, just keep hitting each other, let those bodies get tired, a couple of hard fouls, a couple of bumps and bruises. I don't want anybody to get really hurt, but, a couple, like the Knicks have some bumps and bruises with Cat always hitting the deck, and Brunson's ankle, and obviously OG's hammy. Bridges is a massive big minutes guy. You want him to rest up a little bit more, even though he's an Iron Man. I'm not worried about him, getting tired. But the more rest they have, the better for the Knicks here. So I think from a Knick point of view, I think it's better if the Pistons win. Yeah, I'm with you. But even aside from that, I just think the Pistons will win. And I think the Pistons will still win the series.
I'll take him tonight just because I think of that poor performance last game. I think Cade will be back with a monster game tonight.
Yep. Yeah, listen, Cade's got to do a better job protecting the ball. When they were running that second defender with that trap and give the Cavaliers, because sometimes it was hard and he was not a good defender, but he is 6'5", 6'6". So when he's that second guy coming over, getting his arms up, and when you trap somebody, you played basketball, if you trap them right as they come across the timeline and they're in the middle of the court, you go left, you go right, pass over, and Cade's 6'6", so he could pass over you, 6'5", pass over you. But when you start running that second guy and the timing is perfect and it's precise and you're buttoned up, and now you're using basically the end line, the out of boundaries by the benches as another defender. Well, you got the out of bounds as the third defender. Basically, you got the two guys who are converging on Cade. He's got to recognize that quicker because the Cavaliers, when they were doing that, they made him look very uncomfortable. Even plays that didn't go as turnovers, the offense lacked continuity, and he didn't shoot well, and they got him off his rhythm. So now you talk about adjustments, and in a series at this point, it's always about adjustments after somebody does something to you that you either don't react well to or don't anticipate or both. I'm very curious, and Bickerstaff's very good. Cunningham's going to be a superstar in this league, but he's had a lot of games where he's turned it over lot of times. Like, he can't, like 5 times the other night. He had a game with 8 in the prior series,
Westbrook.
So we'll see. A little bit of Westbrook, yeah. a little bit. We saw that from different kind of players, as you know.
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
just on the turnover front. But also, all the, not all of them, but a lot of these ball dominant point forwards now will usually always end up leading the playoffs in turnovers. Like 2024 Tatum, and I guarantee he still holds the record for most turnovers in a playoff run.
No, well, we'd have to define that because we get in the weeds now. But in a playoff series, maybe. No,
run. In an entire run, I think Tatum has that record by like a mile.
Really?
From 2024, dude was throwing it. He was getting assists for the back in the day. I swear.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying he wasn't sloppy with the ball, but. Let me see. Tatum. I got to find the game log. This could take a second. What year were we talking again?
Jason Tatum, 2021, 2022. The Warriors run, actually. Funny enough. He had 100 turnovers during the run. He beat LeBron out by 6. Yeah. He beat LeBron out by 6 in 2017, 2018.
All right, let me see. So,
dude, he was.
You're talking about just the playoffs, right?
Just the playoffs. 100 turnovers.
All right, you know what? Yeah. Well, you nailed it exactly. Look at J-Rod. No,
I mean, I remember that, dude, because that's a pretty tragic season for me. Not tragic. We made the finals and we were dead. Yeah, what am I saying, dude? I'm blessed. But we made the finals and we got smacked up by the Warriors. But I just remember this dude was just throwing it over. Yeah. And it's because we had Marcus Smart as the point guard at the time.
I remember. I like Smart. All right. I mean, I loved him in college, and he was tough. He was just tough. All right. So first round against the Nets, averaged 5 turnovers in the 4-game sweep. The next round against Milwaukee, I think that was 6. Was that 7? 3? No, that was 7. He averaged 3.4. And then the next series against the Heat, that was also a deep series, averaged 4.7. Rounded up, that's 5. So far, 2 of the first 3 playoff series he was in, he averaged 5 a game. That's a lot.
Cade on pace to break the record if he played the same amount of games.
That's where I was kind of going. Yeah. And then
averaging 6.
And then the Warriors, I think that was a 6-game series. Let me see. It wasn't 7 with 3. Yep, 6 games. And he averaged 3.8 turnovers. So that is a lot of times you're giving it to the wrong team. Yeah, and you're right. Luckily, Cade will not have that opportunity because he will not get to the NBA Finals. If he even gets to the conference finals. We'll see. Which I think he will.
I still think they'll make the conference finals, but no. If they are playing the way they are looking currently, and the Knicks continue to play even a semblance of what they're playing, I'm one who's hopeful that the Knicks will continue this level of play, but I don't know if you can expect 57% from 3 on any given night or something
Of
like
course
that.
you can't expect that.
Well,
there's no way that you can't. I don't even think that you can really expect 80% of the way the Knicks are playing right now.
No.
Well, I mean, what the Knicks are doing, the Knicks are establishing playoff records. Oh, forget about franchise records. I mean, the Knicks are establishing all-time playoff record, margin of victory. I mean, what they are just annihilating everybody. They won by 51 points in a playoff game, dude. I mean, that's like, I don't know. That's like Alabama playing some poor bye game in September in Tuscaloosa, and they win, 66-6 because they called the dogs off. I mean, this is not common stuff here. No, and now I think, of course, the numbers will drop from an efficiency point of view. Now, you hope they don't drop too much, and I don't think that they will. But what I don't want to see change, and we'll get more into this, obviously, is we know who they're playing, and we start to ratchet things up for the conference finals from a Knick point of view. But they just can't change their style. No. They've got to remain. Now, the other teams will make some adjustments. I get that, and the Cavaliers are different personnel-wise than the Pistons. Cavs are longer. Pistons are stronger and a little tougher, a little more stout, a little bit more physically, resolute inside the paint. Allen skinny, Mobley skinny, whatever. But the point is that whomever they play, they better not deviate too far away from still funneling things through Karl Anthony Towns. That's not going to change. And if it does, they're not going to win.
Yeah,
I don't think
simple as that. I feel like they've figured out, the way this guy is most. I don't know if it's the most comfortable Cat is with playing, but it sure seems like it's an area where he's very comfortable, top of the key, dishing it out. That being that kind of facilitator as a player. So yeah, man.
All right, man. All right, I think we're getting ready to wrap it up on that note. Do me a favor, just pop on that Jets Collective thing. Let everybody know one more time tomorrow night. I can't listen, as a Jets fan, there's really, this is like, the AFC Championship game. If the draft is our Super Bowl, the schedule release is kind of like at least a wild card game. I'm excited, man. I am excited. So it's going to be me and Rich and Jake. That'll be tomorrow. And I know Rich has to just finish and filing up the story there. So he'll join us right around 8:05, but we're going to fire this thing up on YouTube. We're going to go live. Episode number 8 of the Jets Collective, which will be phenomenal. If you guys have been checking us out, we appreciate that. If you've yet to do it, jump in, give us a sub, give us a like, and all that good stuff. All right, J-Rod, you got a little work in front of you today, buddy. You got to start chopping up that Booney interview.
Yes, sir.
You got a lot of work to get to, man. So you got the Booney stuff, you got the Stern stuff, which we'll carve up. We'll carve up in individual segments. We'll get that out for you. Listen, make sure you guys support it, like it, get it out there, spread it, share it, let your buddies know that we had Boone on the show. Obviously the comments, the feedback helps with the growth of the show, which I've told you many times here. So, again, special thanks to Aaron for, I was going to my daughter's softball game yesterday, which, by the way, the final score, I think, was 20-14 softball game, J-Rod. 20-14.
My goodness, dude. What?
Yeah, no, you get a lot.
Respect.
You get a lot of that. Yeah, well,
I guess not really. Yeah, defensively, that must have been an eyesore.
They're so young. They're 9 years old, man. They're cuties. They're awesome, and I coach some of them on the rec team, so I love watching them play. The Lady Knights, but we dropped a tough one there. But when I just got to the game and I sit in my folding chair, I got my seeds, and I'm getting ready to spit out, bottle of water, watch the girls get after it. And I get a text from Boone. He's like, they just changed the time of the game. I can't do tomorrow. I'm like, or he's like, I don't think I could do tomorrow. I'm like, oh man. And then I texted J-Rod. I let him know what was going on. I texted Aaron. I'm like, because he was going to come on at 10:30. And I said, well, what about maybe 9:30? What about 10? And he's like, I could do 10. I'm like, awesome, dude. Just the guy. Again, that's like he's got to do that. You know what I mean? Could have easily been like, dude, it's just not going to work out logistically. Come on. We're going to wrap up this series. I want to make sure we win the series. I'm a little bit busy. We'll hook up in a couple of weeks. Guy made it happen. And I really, really, truly appreciate that. So thanks to Yankee manager Aaron Boone. Thanks to you guys. Like it, subscribe it. Jets Collective tomorrow night. We'll be back tomorrow at 10. And that's it. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the Wednesday. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.
This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me? This is Unleash. Are you listening? Can you hear me?
With your host,